cordially on behalf of ESFAN. And once again, thank you for coming along here to Bordeaux. But I would also like to express our gratitude to this very informative and comprehensive speech we have just been listening to by Sonia. May I offer and forward just a very small criticism on behalf of the male participants of this conference. I was a little bit feeling, well, injured that you are showing a picture of fat people and you are only concentrating on 2 fat men. So I would like you to change this picture and also depict some female subjects, since this is not just only a male problem. Well, indeed I'm happy to be here, and it is my pleasure to change my cap, so to say. Most of you know that we have already had 1.5 busy and exciting days here in Bordeaux, since we have just been finishing the TAFISA board meeting. And the reason why I'm telling you this is that you should take the chance to talk to some very interesting people. They will be around this afternoon and tonight, the members of the TAFISA board, and this might be a good idea, not just exchange ideas and concepts between European countries, but also find out what's going on in other continents and regions of the world. This also includes the fact that we have here as our guests a delegation from China, chaired by the Vice Minister of Sports, who at the same time is also the Vice President of the National Olympic Committee. He is the head of the Asian and Oceania group of TAFISA. So I would just like to welcome you, get in touch with them at dinner, at lunch, to find out a little bit more. Yes, indeed, I'm with great pleasure recollecting the marvelous days we had here in Bordeaux only 1.5 years ago. Some of you have been our guests at that time. We have new faces amongst ourselves. I'm saying this that even though ESFAN has not taken that much action you can see in the public, apparently ESFAN already now has been recognized as a player in the European level. This is not just because we have been approached by ENSO to find out about a future collaboration in the field of physical activity and sport for all. We will also have a meeting with the president of the European Olympic Committees, Patrick Hickey, in Dublin, who has also become attentive of the existence of ESFAN. So the only thing what I'm going to say is that apparently there is a change of the picture and structure of physical activity organizations, sport for all organizations in Europe, and ESFAN apparently hasn't been such a bad idea to be started. Of course, Bordeaux is an excellent venue for us, and that's why it's great to be here again. What I would like to tell you at the very beginning, since I got many questions concerning this direction, why does ESFAN not have its own website? I mean, this has been a weak point for quite some time, but I'm very happy to announce officially that yesterday afternoon at 5 o'clock, well, ready for this conference, the newly designed and developed ESFAN website, and you can reach it under esfan.net, has been launched. It is the first start, and of course this website can only grow with your support. And what we will be doing on coming Monday or weekend, for example, to include all the papers you have been looking at today and tomorrow into the new ESFAN website, because those papers are very important and crucial documentaries for our future work. My task today is a much more practical one. This is the field where I'm at home, and the task I had been given by the ESFAN board, and it's finally a presentation which includes contributions from all of us, to think about the opportunity of a European initiative or program which could include most of our countries that are ESFAN members. I think this is a very crucial approach, since the present situation when it comes to European marketing strategies or awareness campaigns is that we all know that the idea of promoting physical activity and sport for all, from our point of view, has indeed been started here in Europe. We have been talking about those most fantastic initiatives from Finland and from Germany and from the Netherlands and so on, but the start of this sort of thinking and this sort of promotion was indeed in Europe, and this all happened in the 70s, and from here took its successful course all around the world. And by now one can rightly state that most of the European countries, be it West, North, East or South, have established and developed their own national, local, regional initiatives, and there's a very bright and colorful picture, and this is a fact, since we know this from our survey we were doing last year. However, and in many Western and Northern countries, we can also state that we have already the third or even fourth generation of sport for all and physical activity leaders. So we have indeed quite some tradition. However, I also must point out at this stage, only having a look at my own country in Germany when it comes to sport for all national initiatives, obviously due to the fact that other topics also have popped up, I sometimes have the impression that the priority attention organizations had on programs like that in some countries are a little bit getting lost. So even in those countries that have been the forerunners in the field of sport for all promotional programs, we have to motivate and to support the idea that, as you said, Wim, before, the time is still the same. The problems, the diseases, the setbacks that we have been facing and investigating at the beginning of the 70s or end of the 60s are just the same. So nothing has really been changing. However, we still need answers and programs and recipes to cope with the situation. And moreover, the situation of European sports structure is indeed a little bit changing. Venues, platforms that have been very important in the 70s, 80s. I'm thinking about the European Sport Conference, which always was a meeting point for East and West, as long as the wall was still existing, is losing a little bit power. So we are needing new platforms, new opportunities to meet, and that's again why I'm so happy that we have been succeeding in doing this here in Bordo. There can be no, it goes without saying that all of you in your given country are doing excellent work. I personally had the chance to have a look at many models, be it Estonia, be it Serbia, be it Sweden. So they are all doing an excellent job when it comes to promotional initiatives in the field of sport. However, from our findings, there has never been a real serious attempt to find out, or at least think about, a European approach which might include all the programs being offered and launched in national markets. From my memory, since we have been involved in this program, I recollect that in the 80s there was a big attempt to start a European fitness badge organized by the Council of Europe, but it failed. It did not happen. And I can also recollect that in 1996 we had this European Challenge Day. I remember Denmark participating, I remember Belgium participating, and so on. But we had no repetition. It was just one single event without any consequences for the time coming after. So this is a reason why the board of ESFAN is of the opinion that the time is ripe to just discuss and think and work on a project which might be the answer on the question, what can we do on a European level when it comes to a campaign, to a promotional initiative, since I should say there are many good reasons to not just think about it, but also to call for action. And you made it very clear, there is no reason to wait anymore. All the scientific proof is there, even though there are many scientists all over the world who are trying to find out the last proof for what we are doing or not doing, but it's all there, and so we can actually understand that there are many good reasons to start something like that. And ESFAN, this is a major decision, indeed has decided and is convinced that it might be a good idea to think about it and to discuss about it, and maybe even finally agree on some sort of basic concept, which then we as ESFAN can try, also in a way to market, that is to say, to try and find public or private funding for this sort of action. And the reason why we are having had this telephone conversation with Mr. Kornbeck, of course, as well, is also the fact that we have some minor information from Brussels that there is indeed interest to listen to ESFAN, to listen to our results from Bordeaux, and to find out whether this might be an opportunity to apply for public funding, since one thing is for sure, we need some money to continue. This is a very simple, not as sophisticated, elaborated way Sonia has been doing it. From my personal point of view, indeed physical activity for various reasons is the answer for not just one future problem. I'm totally convinced that there are at least 3 major challenges in the world we all have to face right now. This is global warming, increased terrorism, and of course increased obesity. And in a way, our tool, our project, our work gives some sort of answer to all these challenges. I might sound very naive, but I'm convinced that if people do more sports, move physically and not using cars, we might also contribute a little bit to the decrease of the risk of global warming. If we are doing sport together as a social activity, of course, people get in touch with each other, talk to each other. This might even be a tiny little aspect that has to be considered when we are talking about the world not understanding each other and fighting also in terms of terrorism. And above all, as at least one of leading scientists in the world, Professor Paul Zimmet, as the Australian director of the International Diabetes Institute, has stated it, but you all know it, that strategies to increase physical activity are the most effective weapon to compete obesity. What we have been starting to think about is that it might be possible to indeed launch a European program, and just for a working title, we have designed, or we have put forward the title An Active and Healthy Europe, with the objective to gain a healthy lifestyle. This is at the moment the semantic framework of what we are interested to put forward. However, a concept like that has to be open to local and regional aspects, for example, language requirements. So when it comes to some sort of solution, we also have to take into account that this needs the opportunity to be used in all languages. The mission that could be behind this idea, and we have lots of statements in this way, could read as: at present the world is facing an obesity crisis. Increasing numbers of people are dying through heart diseases, diabetes and cancer, all related to increasing obesity levels in our children and our global populations. Only 1 in 3 persons exercise enough to reduce obesity. Nutrition is needed in many populations. The single most important contributor to mankind's health and to counteract obesity is physical activity within a healthy lifestyle. This is just some wording. We can do it in another way, but it's just the basic idea behind it. Only last evening, when I was listening to some TV program, from England, I heard that in our generation there is a great risk that we ourselves as adults have a great chance to outlive our children. That is to say, we are getting older than our children due to the fact that it needs some better activity and nutrition at the younger generation, of course, as well. Why are we thinking about a project like that? One reason is very clear, that one of the crucial findings of the TAFISA questionnaire we have been operating last year was that 80% of our TAFISA member organizations apparently are, basically speaking, prepared to join a sort of global, international, European initiative or program headed, chaired by the umbrella organization, be it internationally TAFISA or on the European level ESFAN. So we understand this as a clear request to the organization to at least offer an answer to this request. And of course, this could be only also seen as an additional service for our members. It would increase, of course, the visibility and reputation of the problem, of the solution, and our organizations. It might be an interesting tool to enlarge the cooperation between the European countries, not just the organizations. It's also an idea to support new European member states of the European Union in their policy to become active and healthy countries. And of course, it might be interesting tool to raise money that we don't have now, but this tool might give an opportunity to approach not just the European Commission, but also companies from the private sector to gain additional funds. The European challenge, and I'm grateful to Jorma to have included this chart, is that this promotional approach, of course, will include different levels that have to be included. And of course, we are also aware that the whole concept indeed has to need some scientific basis, and we have just selected this behavior modification strategy to let you know that indeed this is not just a spontaneous thing which we are heading for, but we would also be including, of course, experts to help us when it comes to building up and designing a professional campaign in this sector. Yesterday, during the TAFISA meeting, we have made a very crucial and important decision. As our answer on the basis of the international organization, we have been basically decided to discuss and to design and to elaborate on a new initiative which we are going to call probably Active World, Active and Healthy World. So it is not yet finished, the discussion. We are just talking about a basic idea. However, this might be a new approach and attempt to launch and start a global active world campaign. Of course, if we think in the basic and the global framework of our organization, the reason that strikes me most is that this active world concept can be easily separated and worked out also on the continental level. That's one of the explanation and reason why we are thinking Active Europe would be the European leg of this international campaign, which would help us also to include aspects, information, good ideas, practice from other parts of the world. Since you all have to be aware that if you have a look at various Asian countries, they are doing a most outstanding job in this field as well. And so we should be aware that the advantage we have by being close and connected with TAFISA would also be to implement and to introduce elements, components from other parts of the world to support this initiative. So this would also include Active Europe, Active Asia, and Active Americas, due to the fact that TAFISA at present also has regional organizations in the other 2 continents. How would we think about an active and healthy Europe? It's just some keywords. So we are, of course, just giving some ideas, since we are expecting your help, your contribution during the workshop sessions, whether we are right or whether we are wrong. We think it is a Europe at least where the participation rate of the population of 30 minutes per day, 5 days per week will be increasing, where schools have compulsory physical activity for at least 1 hour a day. Out of school physical activities are engaged in for at least 2 hours per week. All age and social groups of society are aware of the benefits of an active and healthy lifestyle. European citizens have easy access to sport clubs and facilities, and so on and so on. This is just a very rough collection of what could be put forward as good reasons and to describe this concept. We do need partners, there is no question. ESFAN as such might not be strong enough, especially at this initial phase of our development, and there is some interest, as I said before very carefully, that the European Commission might be interested in this sort of concept. We got some positive words when we were preparing this conference. Of course, WHO, Europe, but this needs contact, this needs discussion, no question. But this is our ENSO as a political partner in sport in Europe, private enterprises, cities, communities, sport clubs and schools. So of course it should be a comprehensive concept and structure behind. Objectives of this concept could be to encourage all, or at least the majority of ESFAN countries in Europe to be involved, to encourage the growth of sport clubs throughout Europe, to encourage the promotion of health concept within our members, to say that active and healthy Europe involves not just active Europe, but also active and healthy clubs, families, cities, communities, workplaces, and schools. And I don't know whether some of you are aware, this concept of an active city as a potential part of the overall idea is already being operating. So I can only recommend to you to have a look at Liverpool Active City. Liverpool is one of the leading cities in the world that is already working in this field. They have launched in 2005 a most formidable and fantastic program. It's all put in the website. It's really hot stuff to read. They have done it all. In 2 weeks' time, I have the privilege to be in Liverpool, where the Liverpool administration is holding an event, and they have invited 12 major cities from Europe to present to them the active city concept, including Stockholm, Copenhagen, Belfast, Glasgow, Sheffield, Bergen in Norway, and so on. And we are trying to commit the Liverpool people to help us with this project as a reference that we can need, and not to start again all the work. Since one of the major ideas behind all what we are talking about, and this is probably one of the major key aspects of ESFAN, that we have to do what we can to avoid double work. We all have enough workload on our desks, this is not the question. However, we know that in many cases it could be much easier if we at least knew what's happening in other countries or in other communities. So one of the key factors should be, of course, also to help to avoid this double work, to be more economic, since although the funding in our field, when it comes to organizations, we are not talking about governments, we are talking about our and your organization, money is scarce. And there is still, of course, a picture that most of it goes into the competitive Olympic sport and not exclusively in our field. So what we are concept, and of course, we have to consider also those people who are in charge of doing this sort of projects, active and healthy citizens, since we also need some role models from the people themselves. I mean, we have to find some good examples, good concepts. We need volunteers. I mean, we all have to be aware we will never have enough money from the organizational point of view to do this all with full-time professional people. So we also, of course, need further concepts to motivate and to recruit and to educate and to award active and healthy citizens when it comes to the question of volunteers. What do we mean with an active and healthy week? As part of Active and Healthy Europe for a Healthy Lifestyle, ESFAN suggests to launch an Active and Healthy Week as an annual program for the promotion of sport for all, physical activity and health. And of course, this program would be open for all ESFAN members. And of course, it needs a how-to-do kit, it needs instructions, it needs a manual how to participate in this sort of idea. From our understanding, this Active and Healthy Week could be at the end of May. There are some good reasons for that. Of course, also the fact that the last Wednesday of May, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank those of you who have been participating at this year's European or International Challenge Day. Always the last Wednesday in May is Challenge Day. That also due to the potential funding starting in 2009, that we need some sort of standardized program open for regional and local events, but also for semantics, to be a promotional event in order to raise the attention of as many European citizens as possible, supported and endorsed by partners, and to promote a comprehensive, systematic and sustainable policy. And if we are referring to this concept of an active and healthy Europe, there could be at least, again, three basic components. There could be those events which are on a standardized level, would be proposed by ESFAN, like for example the European Challenge Day, the European Walking Day. But of course, we would take the chance to include all the excellent and outstanding concepts you have at your hands already today. So it would be just the idea of at least concentrating of some of your work into this particular week to make it even more valuable from a national and regional point of view. And we would be working on a concept to endorse certain national initiatives from your organizations which are so outstanding and so important that they might be also very interesting for other countries in the region, in the neighboring region, or in other parts of Europe. So we would have a whole set of different events, programs, and so on, all under the umbrella idea of Active and Healthy Week. So to say, this would serve as a framework, but would help us at the same time to bring together good initiatives and activities and make it for the first time some sort of a European approach and event. We need, of course, something like a global brand strategy. This is now from the marketing point of view, you are all aware of that. Of course, at the same time, regional aspects, for example, as semantics, may require variations in the global brand strategy. Well, this is the basic idea. It is not elaborated to the very end. I mean, this got very clear. However, it is our strong belief that it is worth discussing and working on an idea like that. And that's why the basic task we have to fulfill today would be indeed to do some work on this concept under the understanding that basically there are not many good reasons to be totally opposed. We would just like to work out and find out whether there is a chance, whether there is an opportunity to work in this field and to take some task here from Bordeaux for our work and to continue. Those are some of the questions our moderators are aware of. There can be more questions, other questions, but it is our hope and our wish that we could go through these various questions that might help us to find out a little bit more about the opportunities which are included in this basic sort of idea. Thank you very much for your attention.